What's up, YTPC? This is DSG Pipe Smoker with another pipe smoking video, and today I am doing a pipe tobacco review. And that tobacco that I'm reviewing today is Captain Earle's Honor Blend. Now, since I have the tin saved, let's start by reading off the tin, shall we? Captain Earle's Honor Blend is an all-natural stoved blend of red Virginias, mild Cavendish, Turkish, and Perique tobaccos pressed in an old-fashioned crumble cake. Specifically formulated for the discriminating lovers of fine Virginia-based tobaccos. I love the tin description. Again, tells you exactly what's in the tobacco and kind of what to expect. There is quite a bit of Virginia and Perique with this blend. It is technically classified as a Virginia Perique. I was kind of on the fence as to whether or not I would consider it a Virginia Perique because of the addition of the Cavendish and the Turkish. I decided to pick up this tobacco for a number of reasons, but the two biggest reasons are it's a blend that hasn't really been reviewed, and I kind of wanted to try out a blend that, I thought was unique, and if it turned out to be a pretty good tobacco, it might be something you guys might be interested in. If it didn't turn out to be a good tobacco, would stand to reason why it's not a very popular tobacco. Also, I'm trying to find a Virginia Perique blend that will beat Peter Stokkebye's Luxury Bullseye Flake, and my theory behind this blend was, well, Peter Stokkebye's Luxury Bullseye Flake has Cavendish in the center, has black Cavendish to be specific, and this is a Virginia Perique that has Cavendish in it, so I figured I'd give it a shot. The Captain Earle line is blended by the Cornell and Deal Company, same thing with 10 Russians, which I'll actually be comparing this to, believe it or not. Again, because it was made by the same company in much of the same way, just different tobacco components. Speaking of the tobacco itself, I have it jarred here. So, you get a good whiff of this. You guys know what the aroma's like. It has a very fruity and hay-like aroma, but with like a tobacco aroma in the background. Think like the kind of tobacco smell you'd smell in like a humidor, that kind of thing. And this is what I've got left of the, how did they phrase this? The old-fashioned crumble cake. But as you can see, it's a very bright, very, very bright tobacco. Like the tin described, there are some red Cavendish, or there's some red Virginias in here. There's also some kind of Cavendish. Didn't say specifically what it is. I don't think it's black Cavendish, though. And I even have what the blend looks like when you rub it out. Let's see if I can get that in the shot. You can see it's an extremely rough, broken flake kind of cut. But, with all that being said, let's get into the smoking mechanics. Because of the cut, and I tend to, as you saw, I take a knife and I basically cut off strips of it, and I rub it out. Whatever I can't fit into my bowl, I put back into the jar. But it packs decently. You do have to be careful with it because it is easy to overpack this bowl. That being said, it is a lot easier to light initially than 10 Russians. If I were to take a guess as to why, I would say it's because there's more Virginias and Turkish tobaccos in it rather than the whopping 75% Latakia that's in, 10 Russians. But, with that comes better smoking mechanics. It does stay lit very well. It will as soon as you get it lit, I've had a couple, 2 or 3 bowls where up until about a halfway point, I was able to keep it lit, which is actually kind of surprising. And this blend didn't really require much dry time, if any dry time at all. It's actually the best pressed tobacco I've seen in that regard. Most other pressed tobaccos I've had, they needed some kind of dry time, and I think that's because the pressing of the tobacco itself holds in a lot of moisture. That didn't seem to be the case with this tobacco. That being said, when I did get to the halfway point, I noticed that the ash was very fine, and it got to, kind of a whitish grayish ash, but it was very thick, and you did have to dump it out about the halfway point each time. That being said, there was an interesting transition of flavors once you got to about the halfway point, but I'll get to that in a minute. As far as, like, the strength of this blend, nicotine is about medium. I'd say it's about average. Blend overall is about medium-bodied, medium strength. That being said, it does produce a lot of thick white smoke, which is awesome. I love that. It has a very chewy mouthfeel to it. And the blend is very smooth overall. Additionally, it doesn't have any tongue bite, which is a huge plus for me. Pretty much covers it for smoking mechanics. As far as the pipe preferences, this is interesting because while flavor-wise, you do get a better flavor output on a standard conical bowl, but it becomes harder to pack, and it additionally becomes a little bit harder to smoke due to the cut of the tobacco, I think. That being said, it smokes better in a larger bowl, something like a 320. That being said, that was all before I got my Nording pipe, and I found out that this pipe, with its relatively wide bowl, but it's also relatively deep, and it has a bit of a conical shape to the bowl, all of those factors, being taken into consideration, this ended up being the best combination of both smokability and flavor output in terms of getting all the flavors and getting a nice transition between the first little bit of it all the way down to the bottom. So, like I said, even if you don't have this specific pipe, if you at least have a pipe that's, about 9/10 of an inch or so, maybe 8/10 of an inch wide, and about, I haven't measured the depth of this bowl yet, but I would say it's approximately 1 3/4, maybe pushing 2 inches. It's pretty deep, so that's the kind of bowl you're looking for this kind of blend. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the flavor profile. The first half of the bowl, before it produced that thick, fine ash that you have to dump out each time, I noticed that it was spicy on the draw, but smooth and very sweet on the finish. That being said, on the retrohale, there was quite a bit of spiciness. More like a black pepper kind of spiciness, typical of what you would get out of a lot of cigars. With that being said, once you did get to the last half of the bowl and you dumped out the ash, something interesting happens. The pepperiness goes down quite a bit. In fact, what you get is a lot of sweetness on the draw this time, as opposed to on the finish when you're expelling the smoke. So you're getting a lot of sweetness, a lot of smooth, just general sweet. I wouldn't say it's necessarily hay or, lemon. It's not the bright Virginia sweetness that you get. I would say that's sort of a combination of the Cavendish that's in here and the fact that it's a red Virginia that's producing those kinds of flavors. But you get that on the draw. On the finish, you get a reduced pepperiness on the retrohale. Before I get to the retrohale, on the finish, the Turkish tobaccos, the Orientals, they become a lot more apparent. So it's kind of this tangy, woody, kind of, what's the word I used for it? Earthy, that was the word. Tangy, earthy woodiness to it. More earthiness than anything else. And a little bit more tang than wood. But that's what I got out of it, in addition to the pepper notes that were reduced on the finish on the retrohale. It was very smooth. And very pleasant, actually, on the retrohale. My final thoughts on this. This just goes to show you that there are some great tobaccos out there that aren't just the norm that people like to review a lot, like the Frogmorton series and a lot of the, Dunhill line, a lot of the tobaccos from the Dunhill line. And that's not to say that those are great tobaccos. Like I said, one of the things that drew me to this blend was the fact that no one's really reviewed it, and I figured I would give it a try. And it's an excellent tobacco. If you like the Captain Earle line and you want to try a Virginia Perique, you're getting tired of smoking the heavy Latakia mixtures, this is an excellent choice for that. So, with that being said, what am I going to review next? Well, I got a package coming up with some very interesting tobaccos. I'm not going to spoil what they are. I already know, or I have an idea of what they're going to be, but old Berg is sending them, so in advance, Berg, thank you for the package. I can't wait to get it. Can't wait to try the tobaccos and review them. So, that's what I'm going to review next, guys. And this has gone on a little over 12 minutes, so I'm going to end it here. This has been DSG Pipe Smoker with another pipe smoking video. Again, thank you, Berg. And the rest of you guys, have a good day.